Hey guys, in this episode, I'm going to talk about how you can load related data using explicit loading. So, in the fourth episode of the series, we learned how to use eager loading to load related data, right? We used include API for publishers to load users related to the publisher, and then we used include API to load books, and then we used then include API to load sales related to the books related to the publisher. So same we are going to do with explicit loading. Explicit loading is very similar to eager loading. The only difference is it's very spread out. And with eager loading, everything gets loaded in initial query. But with explicit loading, you'll have to write multiple queries to load related objects into your publisher. That way you can have more control on if you want to load more data into your publisher or not, depending on what you received in the previous query. Also, it gives you more control on putting where conditions on your query, where it gets a little tricky with eager loading and to put where conditions on related objects. Let's look at the demo. So we have the same eager loading that we used in our fourth episode. And I would like to do the same thing. I would like to return the same results using explicit loading. So I'm gonna comment this, and I'm gonna write. I'm gonna return the same results that we returned using eager loading, but now we're gonna use explicit loading. So I'm gonna say var publisher, and I'm gonna return only one publisher. You can see that we used var condition to return one publisher, and then we included the related objects for that publisher. But with explicit loading, we're going to return only one publisher, and then in the second and third statement, we're going to load users and books related to that publisher. Okay, so to return the first publisher, I'm going to say await context get publishers, and get single async. Here I'm going to mention the ID of the publisher that I want to return. I'm going to say publisher ID is equal to the ID which has been passed as parameter into my API call. So this will return the publisher, the single publisher, for which I would like to load more information, more related information of users and books and sales related to the publisher. All right, so this is one query, and to load the users related to the publisher, what I'm going to do, I'm going to say context, the DB context, entry API, where I'm going to pass the user, the publisher, and I want to tell my entry that I would like to load collection related to this publisher, and that collection is users. I would like to load users related to this publisher, and to load this user, I'm just going to say load, and that way it will return users related to this publisher. Let's run this and see if this works or not. So when I run it, you can see that it loaded the publisher, it got single publisher, and then it loaded all the users related to this publisher. All the users related to this publisher. Sweet. So now I would like to load books related to this publisher, and then sales related to the books related to this publisher, right? So to do that, I'm going to say same thing. I'm going to say context, entry, and pass the object for which I would like to load related data. I'm going to say collection, and this publisher as books related to this publisher. So I would like to load the books, and then I'm going to say load. That way it should load users and books related to this publisher. Let's run this and see if this works. So when I run it, it loads books related to the publisher, and then it loads all the users related to this publisher. Sweet, right? And now what I would like to do, I would like to load the sales related to this publisher, sales related to the books related to the publisher. To do that, you can use this query API. You can say query and then include the sales related to the book. So I'm going to say book, please load the sales related to this publisher, and that way it will load the sales related to the books related to the publisher. Let's run this and see if this works or not. So when I run it, you can see that it's loading publisher, and then it's loading books related to publisher, and then it's loading sales related to books related to the publisher. So this book has only 2 sales, this book has only 1 sale, and the users are loading as usual. One more thing that you can do with explicit loading is that you can put where condition on the related objects. So if I would like to say that I want users only for whom the email address contains the name Karen. So to do that, I'm going to use query API, and then I can use where condition on where clause on the related object. So I'm going to say for user, I would like to say that email address should contain name Karen. Should name or contain Karen. Sweet. Let's run this and see if this works or not. So it's loading books as usual, but if you look at users, it was loading, 10 users, but now it's only loading Karen, 1 user for that publisher, because we added that where clause into our explicit loading. It gets a little tricky when you're using eager loading. You'll have to use include filter third-party API. But with the explicit loading, you can put where condition and easily put where condition on the related object. And we looked at one-to-many relationship when it comes to eager loading. You can also use this for one-to-one relationship. I'm not gonna load the user's data, but I'm gonna show you how you can have one-to-one relationship. One user can have only 1 role. So I'm gonna try and load user's role into my user object. To do that, let's first get the user, and I'm gonna say context. I would like only 1 user, single user, and user ID should be let's say 1 for demo purpose, 1, and this will return the user. And if I want to load the role for this user where it's one-to-one relationship, the only thing that you need to do is say context, use entry API where we pass the user that we just loaded, and then instead of saying collection, you say reference, and that way our API knows that it's one-to-one relationship and we need only single entity for this user. And to do that, I'm going to say user and load role for this user, and to get the role, we'll have to call role. Sweet. And this is how you can use reference API to load single entity for your user. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me on Twitter, Facebook. I code live on Twitch if you want to come and hang out. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. Bye.